Winnie, what's the difference between a refi and a rate adjustment for my mortgage? Great question. Great question. I gotta say, if you've heard me talk about refinances lately, you know there's real reason for that because interest rates have been historically low since the pandemic and even before that. And so, right now, if you own a home, and you haven't refied, or maybe you have refied, but maybe you refied a year ago, it's probably good for you to take a look at what your options are to maybe reduce your monthly expenses, your payments, and maybe get your house or townhouse or property paid off even more quickly, right? And I'll tell you, during this pandemic, I have actually adjusted my rate 2 times. It's crazy, but that's what happens. So when you refinance a home, typically what that would entail is you would work with a mortgage banker or broker, and they would go through the different terms, different loans, the different rates, and your different options. And then you would go through that process. You'd probably have to provide a whole bunch of financial documents. You would sign applications. You provide your tax returns. You might even need to get your accountant involved. You might have to have someone come into your home or property to inspect it, to do an appraisal. It's quite an extensive process. Now, that being said, you do that because you want to reduce the rate on your mortgage. That's a beautiful thing, right? So there's a cost to it. It could be a monetary cost, and it could also be a time commitment for you as well. So two parts to that equation, right? But generally it takes a long time. In fact, now refinances are taking longer than they did a few years ago. You just need more information. And not only that is you have to have income and a good credit score. So when you apply for the refinance, you have to have income and good credit. And when you're about to close on the refinance, you also have to have good credit and income, right? So if you went through a job loss either pre or during this refinance, it can get a little problematic. Now, the rate adjustment, though, is an option that a lot of people have heard about. And I will tell you, as a financial professional, I actually didn't even hear about this until, the last 18 months or so. So I want to make sure to share this with you. A rate adjustment may be available to you. Now, if you had someone help you set up your mortgage on your property now, I would simply send an email to them or give them a call, whatever it means that you have to reach out to them and just say, do you have a rate adjustment option for my mortgage? Now, they could come back and say, yeah, no, we don't have one. We don't do that. That's fine. But on a small likelihood, or there's not a small likelihood, there's actually a larger likelihood now. On the likelihood that they have an option for you, they might say, yes, I have an option for you, so-and-so. And this is it. If you send me a check for whatever amount, we will reduce your mortgage interest rate by this much. So let's say your rate's at 3%. Right? They might offer you a rate adjustment to 2.75%, and at the cost of let's say $700. It's just kind of, it can be anywhere. It's usually not a huge sum, but it's usually, it's not a small sum either. So a few $100, you pay it, you send a check into the bank, and they will adjust your mortgage without you going through a refinance, without you going through an appraisal, without you producing all these financial documents. It will take you literally 5 minutes. Now, that being said, if you went through the entire refinance process, you could get your rate adjusted even lower possibly than a rate adjustment. But the rate adjustment option is sometimes offered by financial firms and banks for not only our best clients, but just clients in general. And sometimes you just have to ask to see if it's available. So I've done this with my personal mortgage twice in the last 18 months. And so I want to make sure that you know that the option might be available to you. Hey, you know what? It takes 5 minutes. Send an email, send a message, see if it's something that you might have available to you, and then you can decide whether or not it makes sense. The reason why you have to send them a check, because they usually charge you an application fee, and that's why you send the check in, but you usually can make up that amount in a matter of months, and usually within the first year. So if you're on a 20 or 30-year mortgage, it could make a lot of sense for you. So give that some thought. I want to make sure you pay attention to that, because that is something I will tell you that even is relatively new for me, and I'm going to guess that could be relatively new to you. All right. So thank you so much, my friends, for watching, supporting our program. As a reminder, you can find full episodes of Love Up with Winnie Sun on NASDAQ, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Do me a favor, share the show with your social community, your family on social. Be well, and I can't wait to see you again on next week. Take care now. Bye-bye.